Right. Next video coming at you. Here with Rylee, who clearly by the shirt is a Southend United fan. He's agreed to come on and talk about the painful situation that is Southend United. So hopefully we will get a bit more clarity as to what's going on and seeing what the team's going to be like for next season. So thank you, Rylee, for coming on, first and
No
foremost.
worries. Thanks for having me.
So, the big question. What the hell is going on at Southend?
How long do you have?
I've got work in a couple of hours, so preferably before that.
Yeah, I think it's just been one thing after another for the past however many years. I think however many years ago when our chief executive left for Millwall, our owner's kind of gone, that's all right, I can do everything. I can do the managing, I can do the recruitment, I can run the financials, and he's just kind of got caught out a bit. Last season I think it was probably the worst in our history, which is quite some doing. We've had quite a few bad seasons. But yeah, I think we brought in a lot of players who probably didn't care, a lot of players who maybe weren't fit enough, players who weren't good enough. We brought in Kevin Bond, who he kept us up, obviously, when we came to Walsall and we got done dirty in the last minute.
Don't know what you're on about.
Yeah, but he kept us up. And then, things didn't go well at the start of last season. We lost our first 7 games. And, he obviously left the club. And I'd done an interview with him the other week, actually. It was quite insightful, because all our fans had this perception that, he was clueless. He didn't have a clue what was going on. But I always felt, how can that be? Because he was an assistant at Tottenham. You don't get that if you're not clearly good.
Yeah.
But, that was insightful. It was like, what he kind of got the gist of was that when he came in, we'd had that losing mentality as a club for so many years. The players they were a mess. They didn't know how to move on. And it was that bad that it kind of had a feeling on new signings, like you said earlier about Sam Manton. When we got him in on loan, he was probably quite solid. But where you'd expect players to get better as they spend longer in the team, he was slowly getting worse.
Do you reckon, because me and Rylee were chatting about Sam Manton before hitting record. For us, he's a very good League One player, in my opinion. I think he's a very solid League One centre mid. So using him as an example, is it a case of the chief exec, the board, all the behind the scenes have had that bigger effect on the playing side of things?
I think so, because, obviously there's this perception that all footballers are rich and, they all own Lamborghinis and that. But, even though we do pay our players quite high, when you're going months without being paid or you're being paid 2 weeks late, that can have an effect on confidence. And obviously, Sam Manton, he was never one of our best players, but he was also captain for some of his time here. And he did get a lot of abuse. Some of it was warranted, some of it weren't. But you could see that he was a player with no confidence. Like, he wouldn't make a long pass. He wouldn't, track back. And if he did, it wouldn't be that, he'd be fearful to show what he was good at.
Was that a trait throughout the whole team, that as a whole they just were scared?
Oh, without a doubt. I remember, I don't know if you saw the clip at the start of the season with Rochdale, when they made about 35 passes against us, then scored. And everyone was like, bloody hell, Rochdale were like Man City here. But if you looked at it closely, I remember there was a still image on Twitter, and their left back had it. And the 5 players around him was our left mid, our left back, 1 centre back, and a striker. And there was no structure to the team.
Jeez.
It was quite hard to watch.
Yeah. Were there any standout players from last season?
I think we have to look at the youth because, Charlie Kelman, who's had bids from championship clubs, 7 goals, I think, in his first season. Obviously, Nathan Bishop, who's gone to Man United in goal. And in January, we got rid of, I think, 5 or 6 of the top earners. So, now we've got about 4 or 5 first teamers for next season and then a load of under 23s. So, from January to February, those under-23s did do really well, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, it's that thing with Bolton. You put all the kids out, and if they can make it a respectable scoreline, then you're happy. I mean, it did, from an outside point of view, look as though at one point Bolton could catch you up.
Yeah, I think at one point they were above us in the league. I know, I mean, 12 points behind as well, I think.
And then with the start they had as well, with literally like under 18s.
Exactly. Couldn't even play games because it was a health and safety concern. But, I think a lot of people don't actually realise how bad things are for Southend. We've had a transfer embargo now since January. Sol Campbell brought in 2 ex-Maxwell players. We've signed them. They've now been at the club 8 months and they're not registered. We had a court date in March, which obviously got postponed because of coronavirus. So it was postponed to 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was like, right, we'll get that 700 grand tax bill paid, but it got adjourned again. So now we've still got an embargo until next month. So, it's hard. I don't see things getting better.
Yeah, especially given that there's no kind of view that, do you know what, though? We've got a good core of players that we can have a good season next season.
Yeah. And
so that's, I mean, I think because obviously when we dropped into League Two, it's one of those that you do tend to not look as much at League One. But I mean, looking from just the league table, it was like, wow, Southend are having an absolute nightmare. I think by September, mid-October, you could call, with Berry going, you could call 2 of the 3 relegation spots, which is bad. I mean, was there any point that you thought, we can actually stay up, or was it a season of, we know we're going down?
For me personally, I think from August, I always knew we were down. I mean, there was talks amongst fans when we got rid of Kevin Bond that we would magically get into the playoffs, that we have a great squad and we'd go unbeaten. But, we took, I think it's 50 days to appoint a manager. And when you're like doing that and you're losing with your caretaker boss, and there weren't any signs of getting better. If anything, things slowly got worse. But for me, it wasn't going down. Staying up was the aim for me. Being above Bolton was the aim, which is kind of embarrassing to say.
Yeah, but you've got to have something, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
You've got to have something. Good luck finishing above them this season.
I don't think that'll happen.
If you do, then either they're having a mare or you're going to have a blinder. I don't know which is more likely. So, obviously with this transfer embargo, is it complete none, or is it you can have loan players, you can sign frees? Like how is that working? Because they all kind of are a bit different. And
so at the moment, our owner actually hasn't admitted we're under an embargo. That's been down to our reporter, and obviously word getting out amongst fans. So obviously we signed Ossa Davey and Vassell in January. They were free transfers, but we've not been able to register them. We weren't allowed any loan signings in January. The only signing we could make was an emergency goalkeeper, who's a 19-year-old lad from Brentford, I think. Yeah, Patrick Gunnison. So I don't think we can make any signings, which is, for the new manager, not going to be very helpful.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it's a case of Sol Campbell loves a job that's difficult, or whether where he goes is played. But so what happened in terms of management last season? Obviously, you said you were in 15 games without a manager, and then where did that take you up to? How did that kind of?
So we had Kevin Bond for the first 7 games. games or 7 or 8 games. We lost 7. So bye, Kevin. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then his assistant, Gary Waddock, who's spent time at Wickham, Stockport, teams like that. He was our caretaker boss for 9 games. And then we brought in Sol Campbell on the night we lost to Doncaster 7-1, which I know, saying it now, it was one of them games where, as bad as it was quite funny watching. It looked like we was playing a Premier League team. Like yeah. But, that showed how big of a task Sol Campbell was. But, there's a lot of talk about whether Sol Campbell should get a top job.
Yeah.
I think you'll struggle to find a Southend fan who thinks he should. He come in with his 2 assistants and, word on the club, obviously it's only allegations, that he wouldn't talk to any staff that weren't his own. From March until when he left, that 3 or 4 months, he didn't get in contact with any players. He wouldn't talk to the media about it. And obviously, I don't know if you follow him on Instagram. He does treat Instagram a bit like a 13-year-old kid going through a breakup. But yeah, like captions and that. I remember one in January, he took a picture of the London Eye, and it was just like, this is how I feel during the transfer window. And that's not very professional, Sol. But, the day it broke that our players hadn't been paid, he was showing off his new £1,000 shoes in the middle of London, which is, he never made that connection with fans. Obviously, you'll find it yourself as a Walsall fan. The reason we support these lower league clubs is not for the success. It's that feeling, isn't it? That community. But, like there wasn't once where he came over to fans, when we'd go Tuesday nights away in Doncaster or long trips up.
They're long journeys to...
Yeah.
When you are like, you're dead and buried at that point.
Exactly.
Like, and it's not even been a season where, I mean, how many games did you win last season?
4.
Yeah,
4.
Exactly. Like, you win 4 games, you kind of at least give the fans the courtesy that even if you're going down, you've got, as a manager, surely give them some sort of faith that I know we've gone now. It's going to be an experimental couple of months.
Yeah.
And then we'll give it as good a go as coming back up.
Yeah, because even if it's just a thumbs up or something, it's that feeling that, okay, we're the worst team in the country, but at least we're getting recognised. Yeah,
but I mean, because that's the thing. Like, I think your form was as bad as Stevenage, who in League 2.
Yeah.
If not, actually, how many points did you end up with before the points per game?
I want to say 17 or 19.
Okay, so you were worse than Stevenage.
Which is... At least we beat them in the cup.
Oh, did you?
We beat them in the cup.
There you go, so you're marginally better than...
than Stevenage.
Yeah. Who could yet still stay up, dependent on...
Yeah, what happens with Macclesfield.
Yeah, and in League 2, the owners or the clubs voted that they didn't want relegations to happen.
Yeah.
Because they were like, it's unfair. And I mean, the EFL have effectively kept Macclesfield up by 0.4, I think, of a point. Or
yeah.
0.6. This is the thing, it's the points deductions coming from not paying players. But in Macclesfield's case, the longer it went on, the more months they didn't, the lower the like punishment, which is what's kept them up, which has been the arguing point in League 2. You kind of think, well, I don't know if it's 7 or 9 points that they got docked first time around, and then it dropped to like 4 or 5, and then
it just doesn't make sense, does it?
You're like, well, surely it should be going up, or at least staying the same.
Yeah, because I think we've got a suspended 3-point or 6-point docked. If it happens again, then obviously that will come into play. But I think Macclesfield it's crazy. I feel for both of their fans.
Yeah, I do, because I feel that Stevenage, they were by far the worst footballing team. However, we know that they're going to be having a team and a squad for next season. We don't know what's happening with Macclesfield.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, are we going to have another Bury situation where there's weeks where teams don't play and you don't know? So but that'll be the interesting chat with the Macclesfield.
Yeah, have fun with that one.
Yeah, that'll be another. So explain. So obviously, this is normally the part where I'd go, how's your summer transfer activity been? But we'll gloss over it.
Wonderful.
Well, at least you know that you're not signing any bad players.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think 6 of our graduates got professional contracts this week. So it is the positives. You know, we have got something to look forward to, that we do have our own players coming through.
I mean, if you can stay up, even if it is by a point or goal difference, if you can stay up in the 2021 season, you think giving such young players a season in the Football League, if you can keep them short, but unfortunately, it's the same thing that's happened with Bury. It's the same thing that's happened with Macclesfield and with other clubs over the years. Like, I mean, we played Darlington in the Cup and they had a situation the same. It's off the field that is playing such a big part of your season.
Yeah.
So, again, I'd normally ask what your thoughts are on the board and Sol Campbell. So I've taken his Instagram story away. What has his tactics been like? What's his sort of style of football been? Did you notice much of a difference? Did you go, right, he's annoying off the field, but you can see he's got a good brand of football? Or, like you said, is it a case of you don't think he's good enough for a top job?
Yeah. So obviously we did get better. There was a structure in place and we looked like, maybe not every game, but for some games we looked like a football team, which is, you know, a good thing to say. But I think I wouldn't be able to sit here now and tell you whether he played football on the floor, whether he played football, you know, like punt it up top. I wouldn't be able to tell you what his preferred formation was because, you know, he changed it every game. And, you know, maybe that's
experimenting to try and find something.
I don't know whether it's that or whether it's the fact that he genuinely just didn't know. But I remember, you know, Wimbledon, the away fans, you're right next to the dugout.
Yeah.
So we was there on New Year's Day.
And that's a bit of a derby kind of for you, isn't it? Or it's a Londonish.
Yeah, one of the closer games that we have. And I remember, so obviously we was here, Sol Campbell was probably 4 or 5 meters away from us. And they had Wimbledon had a throw in on the halfway line. And Sol Campbell shouting at the top of his lungs, hold the line, hold the line. And our defence, they dropped back but at different paces. And then obviously we've got no structure, so the strikers threw on goal. And you could just see that it felt at that time that no matter what he was saying, the players just weren't listening. Yeah. So I did feel sorry for him.
Yeah, at the same time, defensively, he knows his stuff. Like, he does.
One of the best. Yeah, one of the best the country's seen. But when you hear the things what he's like on the training ground, the fact that he doesn't communicate with his staff, the fact that it's...
Then why would they listen on the pitch if he's not talking to them off it?
Exactly. I mean, he throws out senior players who stood up to him. You know, Simon Cox, who's obviously now gone to Western Sydney Wanderers. You know,
he was quality.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, he played for you, didn't he?
No.
Look, Swindon, I'm thinking of. Swindon.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was like, what? But I mean, he had a good spell with Swindon, and he also had a decent run with Baggies as well. I think even in the Prem he was playing.
Yeah, he did. He scored, I think, got goal of the season one year against Tottenham. But, you know, to season 4 last, he is the reason we stayed up. And, you know, all right, he wasn't what he was last season, but if you're freezing people out of the squad just because you disagree with them, that says more about you as a man than it does as a manager.
Yeah. But it's all one thing, isn't it? Your man management skills have to be on it. Otherwise, your tactical side just isn't going to work.
Exactly.
You can't. Yeah, you could be Guardiola in terms of tactics, but if you, like I said, if you freeze, let's face it, your better players out, your experienced heads who you need on your side, why are they going to play for you?
Exactly. You know, like, you don't have to be the best tactician in the world, but if you're the best man manager, that goes a long way. Like during 2004, 2006, when we got back-to-back promotion with Steve Tilson, every player who played under him will tell you he wasn't a great tactician. He wouldn't have a backup plan, but he made the players. He made the players feel so welcome and so calm. They felt like they could play how they wanted, and that goes a long way.
So, yeah, I mean, it's the Sam Allardyce thing, isn't it? When you need someone to keep you in the Prem, it's not pretty. It's he can get the team playing for you.
Gets the job done.
Yeah,
gets the job done, and I think, you know, whoever we get now as our manager, I think obviously it's down to Craig Fagan, who's our under-23 boss, who's obviously got the respect of the youth academy. He's seen them grown up.
Well, to be fair, if from an outside point of view, if your team's a lot of the under-23s, keeps some continuity. If you get a guy in that knows them.
And we've also got Mark Molesley, who's just won back-to-back promotion with Weymouth. So obviously we've got, you know, two candidates who we can look forward to. You know, last season the candidates were Sol Campbell or Henrik Larsson. And
But I mean, surely both would be quite expensive as well.
Exactly. I mean, Henrik Larsson, the deal fell through when he was on the plane to Southend to sign the contract. So Sol Campbell wasn't even first choice. But I never understood that Larsson deal. I mean, the deal fell through because it was him and three others, and the deal fell through because his scout decided to go to Blackpool. So if the deal's falling through because the scout's gone, that kind of tells you already it probably wasn't the best idea.
Yeah.
But, you know, our owner loves a big name. You know, obviously Phil Brown, we had Sol Campbell. But I think
you're not in the position to have big name.
Exactly. You know, whether we are or not, a lot of our fans think we are one of the biggest clubs in League Two. You know, whether we should be a League Two club or not, I don't quite know. Structurally, we probably should. Based on history, I don't, you know, it's not for me to say, but our owner thinks we can and should be a championship club. He's lived on the pipeline of a stadium for the past 30 years now.
Sounds very reminiscent of our previous owner.
Yeah.
We're in League One and he's constantly saying we're also going to be a championship club, where we found out since he's left that Dean Smith was having his budget cut each year, and you're like, finishing higher up, and you think if you gave him a little bit more money, would have surely logic dictates. But that's the reason why he left.
Yeah.
And sort of started a chain of events that led to relegation. And I just think owners just be realistic.
Exactly.
That's what our current owner is. He's open with the fans. He's got a plan, and he's been very open with his plan. During this, he said, bear with us because, you know, clubs like ours, they're not the biggest financially. So he sort of said his 5-year plan isn't a 5-year plan from now rather than from last summer when he took over, because no one knows what really next season's going to be like. I think it's going to be a very odd league.
Yeah, definitely. How do you think yous will do?
Obviously, we want to say promotion.
Every club.
We had a very good second half of last season. The first half wasn't, and it was very much a big rebuild, finding the key. But the second half of the season, we had playoff form, which is promising, and we've kept we were talking before because Rory Holden re-signed, which is the second one of these in a row where we've signed someone whilst recording.
Might have to do a few more.
Yeah, basically do one like a day.
Yeah.
So we've just re-signed Rory Holden, which means, technically speaking, apart from our left back, we've got two now. We've got one on loan and one that was from our youth. We could effectively start a same 11 from last season.
And that's good.
And a few players on the bench that could come on and make a difference, all from last season. So we still need a keeper because we've only got one. I think we're probably going to look, because we've sent a youth player. We've agreed a compensation deal with Southampton today. It's been a busy day. So I reckon we might look at potentially a young striker, like a very young striker that won't really play first team for a while. But yeah, I think we're only a couple away now. I think 2, maybe 3 signings. Goalkeeper, right back, and striker, I think will be the 3.
Yeah, that's good then.
I'd take top 10.
Yeah.
Given the way that everything is, I'd rather us be more conservative with our transfer policy and stay like financially secure. So I'm going to say top 10, but I really want obviously top 7.
Yeah.
So are Southend going to be giving us 6 points next season?
Probably. Probably. But, I don't think we ever do really too well against you. So I remember when we was in the hunt for the League One playoffs and we came back from 2-0 down and won 3-2.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was a really painful game.
Yeah, Frank Musa scored 2 for you, didn't he?
I can't remember who scored them, but we were flying.
Yeah.
Absolutely flying. And then I remember I knew the point it was going to go badly because we had a defender called Scott Laird.
Yeah.
Who hustled the ball out for a goal kick in front of the away fans. And he started like flexing to get the fans going because he'd like held off one of your strikers. And that was the moment that we all went, oh, this is going to backfire now. This is going to go well.
Yeah. It's when Anton Ferdinand kind of scored a volley.
Yeah. And you kind of, painful. Yeah. So what does your head say and what does your heart say for next season? Or is it the same?
Well, my heart says mid-table, which obviously I'll be over the moon about. My head says 21st, and I will take that all day long. I don't think this season's about winning games. It's about getting the new manager's philosophy, getting things into place, getting a structure into place, and kind of almost rebuilding rebuild as Southend United, because, we've never been in non-league, and I don't really want next season to be the first.
Yeah.
But it's not just the squad that needs to rebuild. It is, like I said, the whole structure from top to bottom. For the first season in however many years, we've actually got nice kits, which is something to look forward to. But it's just things like that, making us look more like a professional club. Like our top last year, it was a training kit. It was a relegation top.
Yeah.
And it's just, our owner said he done an interview the other day and he was like, we've got all the ingredients, we just need a chef. And I'm sitting here as a fan thinking, what ingredients do we have? Yeah,
you can't sign players. You've got rid of all the experienced ones and you fill with youth. But it's like I said, if you can stay up, it could turn a corner that you kind of go, great, we've got youth players that are now first teamers.
Yeah. And at that point, we can now say, all right, let's look forward and build from this.
Yeah, hopefully transfer embargo will have gone.
Yeah. And we can, just build from there. Right.
Well, last question will be, who's going to be your key player for next season?
I'll say Stephen Humphries if he doesn't leave. We signed him from Fulham last January. Really, he's not a League 2 player. He is top of League 1, bottom of Championship. I have no idea how we managed to get him. But he played against Accrington and broke his whole face, broke his nose, eye socket, cheekbone, the
Oh,
lot. When he at Accrington, they stretched him past us, and he looked dead. But
oh.
he came back 3 months later, scored the goal that kept us up against Sunderland, and I get on quite well with him actually, and I'm just hoping he stays and he does well. If he's fit, he will get a lot of goals.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. I hope that things turn around, because you don't want to see clubs going if you get relegated because of off the field mismanagement rather than the first team coach and staff players. It's when it's things outside of their control, it is difficult. But we'll be watching, and everyone likes a good Southend away day, so hopefully we'll bring it down.
Yeah, hopefully, and I look forward to going to Walsall again.
Yeah. It seems like League 2 is just looking like League 1 from a few seasons back with the clubs.
I think we've got to do about 7,000 miles next season, so that'll be fun.
Ours is quite low. I won't go into it, but I think we're like from bottom of the.
Oh, that's all right then.
Don't know whether it'll play any factor, but right. Thank you very much.
Cheers.